Hi, and welcome back to the Help My Nerds podcast. This is our X-Men 97 review, and I just want to take a moment to ask you to check out all of our other social media accounts. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram, a Threads. We now have a TikTok, and we've got a YouTube channel as well.
Yes.
So, that's just a little bit of housekeeping, because we have more listeners on here than we do on any of the other accounts.
So, X-Men 97.
X-Men
Thoughts?
97.
Feelings?
The season overall was good. I think it's one of the best things Marvel has put out in the recent years.
Yeah. I loved it. Looking forward to season 2. Justice for my Gambit.
It was on par for me with the hype I felt for Spider-Man No Way Home and for Infinity War and Endgame, respectively. So,
yes.
I think that, it feels like Marvel's back, if only in animation form. But I feel like Marvel's been putting out some good projects, but quite a few duds lately, and X-Men 97 seems like a return to form.
I'd like to think it's returned to, because Kevin has said they're going to put out less and it'd be better. And I feel like this is the first of many.
I think Bo DeMaio, who was the showrunner for this season, and I believe some of next, did really good work. I know he was let go before the project came out.
Yeah, kind of fishy.
We weren't told much about it. There's speculation, obviously, that he has an active OnlyFans or that he was hard to work with on set. But again, some of those are instantiated and others just don't make sense, because why hire him for season 2 if he was hard to work with during season 1?
Exactly. Unless they did like a 2-season deal.
Unless they'd already signed it. Yeah, so. But that's by the by. We can't get into that because we don't know behind the scenes, but we just think that's a bit fishy.
Legal stuff we're not going to get into.
No, it just seems a bit weird.
But
beyond that, I think it was really good. I think if I was to rank the episodes 1 to 10, I'm going to put episode 2 at 10. It was good, felt rushed. I really enjoyed the Inferno arc in the comics with Madeline Pryor and Scott Summers in Cable.
I enjoyed it.
Spoiler alert, Cable is Nathan.
But I'd have thought you'd have put the gaming one then.
No, see, I would have just because of the gaming one, but because it's a side note to what's going on with Storm in Life Death, because Life Death Part 1 takes place after the video game thing. I can't put that as low as 10 because the Life Death stuff is fantastic.
It is.
So I'm going to have to put that at 9 because...
I liked it because I like Jubilee as a character.
I like Jubilee as a character. I just thought the gimmick of going into a video game was a bit...
Blasé.
And I don't particularly like Mojo as a character.
I was hoping it was any other villain.
Yeah.
I kind of guessed it was him from the beginning, but I was hoping.
I was hoping it wasn't, yeah, so...
Obviously, things I'd change is the obvious note.
Yeah, if you've caught up with the podcast, you'll know that Rob is devastated by the death of the Raging Cajun Gambit.
Best X-Men.
Yeah.
You can't change my mind.
I know. But as our fans will know, we disagree on the best X-Men.
Yeah, but yours is everybody's favourite. It's just boring.
Yeah, but I've actually read the material. Most people just watch Hugh Jackman and pick that guy. Like
to be fair, I don't blame him because what an ass.
I mean, he's good looking, but I liked him from reading, Giant Size X-Men #1, Wolverine solo series. I've read the original Origins Wolverine. I read Fatal Attraction, which we'll come back to because that actually ties into this, and a bunch of other Logan solo series. It's why X-Men Origins Wolverine pissed me off, because Sabretooth is not Logan's brother, for those of you that went just off that movie, and they really fucked Deadpool, but everybody knows that at this point.
Yeah, but he got his comeuppance in the end, Brian. In fact, he got to do it.
Oh yeah. And we're really excited for Deadpool and Wolverine. It feels like X-Men is eating this year, let's just say that. So, but yeah.
I like Magneto in this series.
Oh,
Even
Magneto.
finally telling Charles to shut up was perfect.
The way that was done. Yeah. Charles, I've waited years to say this to you. Shut up. Oh, and so those are my lowest. I'm not gonna go through every single episode.
Even though God rest his soul, the best X-Men died. That episode is up there. That was a fucking good episode.
Episode 5, remember it, is literally the best episode of the series.
The fact he gets stabbed and it was like, you think I need my hands to use this power?
Yeah, it was so fucking cool. I mean, followed closely for me personally by the last episode. I think that was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
The way that it wrapped everything up and set up season 2 was like, if number 5 hadn't have been so good, that probably would have been number 1. But that was like so good. And then the second part of that one, so like, because it was a 3-part of the finale, I'm just counting it as one.
One episode. It was really good. Apocalypse at the end was cool.
Apocalypse at the end. And my third best is Life Death Part 2. Because barring the magical girl transformation, which I know Storm can do because she did that in the original X-Men 90s cartoon, like when she first meets Jubilee, she just pours lightning over herself and puts her costume on. So it's canon to that universe, so Storm could just summon her outfit. I'm just saying that, like, it, barring that, it was a fantastic episode, but the magical girl transformation when she got a new hair.
It was weird, but I get it. It was a cool moment to slip in.
Yeah. And she got the comic accurate black suit, which
Some of them had comic accurate suits. They were all awesome.
Oh, they were all comic accurate. I'm just saying, like, it is the first time in the animated series we have seen the black suit.
I love the black suit. I'd like to see who they get to play her in live action.
I think Storm's going to be an interesting one to cast. Especially seeing as though her most famous relationship is with T'Challa, who is obviously, God rest Chadwick's
True.
soul is dead.
Could switch it up. But they still have a Black Panther.
They could, and that would be a really cool twist. And seeing as though we're on that topic, Happy Pride Month.
Yeah, definitely Happy Pride Month.
But, like, literally, some people are saying when they restructure the universe, that T'Challa came a lot earlier, and T'Challa Jr. is now the Black Panther.
No.
I don't like that because it takes away from Shuri. But
leave it for now, Shuri, and then fuck about with it later.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that'd be cool. I want your opinion on this. Because, obviously, I'm assuming you've watched it more than once. Episode 5, with it being the death of your favourite character.
Yes.
The guy at the end. Like, when Gambit's doing his remember it bit. Some people were calling the Watcher, like, watching over that scene. Like, because you can see a silhouette of a bowl.
I thought that originally. I'm unsure the more times I watch it.
The more times I watch it, I'm like, is that a nod to the original event that was constructed by Cassandra Nova, the villain of Deadpool and Wolverine, who is a bald person?
It could be.
And Genosha was attacked by a wild sentinel at her command in the comics? Or is it supposed to be the Watcher? Because
could be either.
It could be either. And if it's the Watcher, then it just says that X-Men 97 is part of the MCU multiverse, which...
is fair enough.
Fair enough. Especially since it has a Spider-Man, which awesome cameos.
Yes.
It has Iron Man, Captain America, Daredevil.
Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, I didn't see them in the original animation. But
that was nice.
That was a nice add-on. And obviously, because it all takes place in the same universe, they have a Hulk.
Yes.
Because they've got the animated Hulk, the Fantastic Four. Also, they have to have a Hulk literally morphed into the Hulk and shouted, "Morph Smash," which is hilarious.
Oh, that scene.
Yeah.
People like to believe it's him pretending to be Jane and letting Wolverine know that Jean loves him.
It's not.
It's not.
Bo DeMaio said that
it has been confirmed. It is Morph telling Logan.
Bo DeMaio on, I think it's X, confirmed that his original intention behind that was to literally have Morph confess his feelings for Logan.
Yeah.
To Logan in the guise of Jean.
Yes. But no, obviously people who don't like that have decided, no, I can't be that.
One, Morph is agender. They don't have one.
No.
So, does it really matter? And two, you think Wolverine's not bi?
He is bi.
Like, I'm talking to the people that sit there and go, that can't be.
I believe Hugh Jackman said he's read most comics nowadays and he believes he is bi for what he's seen.
There's no way you've lived as long as Wolverine and not tried it at least once.
Exactly.
Like, sorry. If you think you could live for over 100 years and not try it, you're kidding yourself. You'd get bored with the same odd flavour. It's like eating vanilla for the rest of your life and never trying chocolate.
On that note, kind of. I can never pronounce his name, but the guy who has been rumoured to be Professor X for a while, from Breaking Bad, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his name. I can never do it.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
He's in everything if you look close enough.
Gideon.
Yes, him.
From
has been seen on set of Captain America. Please, for God's sake, Marvel, don't waste his acting talents.
Yeah, because there's a rumour going around that he might be playing a villain. I really hope not.
I don't mind if he's playing a villain as long as it's somebody half decent.
True.
And not another Crossbones where you're wasting a good actor.
True. I'm just hoping that, like, it's a cameo of politics. Because obviously we know Brave New World's going to play with that a bit. And he is Charles, because that is one of the fan casts.
Yes, and he said he'd love to play him walking.
So you could have him walking in this film and have something happen in this film that puts him in the wheelchair.
And I know apparently we're getting a bit more on the ending of Eternals with a big whack-off monster thing coming out the Earth. We're finally getting that mentioned. I
want that to be adamantium.
Same.
Just because adamantium comes from space. Like, they say it's natural. Like, the hardest natural element. But I believe, like, it comes from space. I might be wrong.
So,
but they could tie it together by having it be an alien made it. Like, it's made of an alien skeleton.
So, X-Men 97.
Yeah.
Finished. Getting season 2.
We are. It's going to be amazing.
We also know at some point we're going to get live action X-Men.
Yes.
Your favourite is?
Wolverine, but shelving for a bit.
Yes, but who would you like to be cast?
But as Wolverine?
Yes. Taking Hugh Jackman out, because going off what Hugh Jackman says,
this is his last hurrah.
This is his last, even though I slightly believe he's going to turn up in Secret Wars.
But I wouldn't cast Hugh Jackman anyway, just because I want it to be more comic accurate. I love Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine, don't get me wrong, but he's too tall.
Yes. What about Taron from Kingsman?
Taron Egerton fits.
What I keep seeing randomly is Daniel Radcliffe. I don't see it.
I don't see it. I think they're going off Guns Akimbo, but
that was funny, that film.
But still, I don't see him as Wolverine.
Look-wise and size-wise, even though they probably won't because it technically has been in the universe, I can see Tom Hardy. That's who Hugh Jackman picked, Tom Hardy.
I can see that, but they've kind of set that up, him up as like a multiverse Venom, but at the same time, though, going to the new Venom trailer, it literally picks up with someone catching the symbiote in the bar, which implies that wasn't the MCU. But it clearly was meant to be when you watch No Way Home, so...
Who's saying that one army guy can't travel?
No one's saying that. I'm just saying that, like... Sony keep fucking it up, to be fair.
Yes.
They did it in Morbius when they had freaking Vulture show up in Morbius' universe and not go back to his own.
I know that. I think that was just them trying to pick up Sinister Six again. Which is a shame because I wouldn't mind seeing that.
I wouldn't, but at the same time,
You got Venom who
it
could
didn't
edit.
make sense.
Venom who could edit. Morpheus.
Mm.
Which Jabba did not do a bad job.
No, it's
Script did a terrible job.
it was a crap movie, but that's by the by.
Then you got Alan Johnson as Craven, which, yes, it's probably going to be terrible. I'm looking forward to it because I like the character, and I can see Johnson doing a good job
I just
with what he's been given. I'm not looking forward to the script. Who else we got? We're going to have a Rhino in that movie.
so they could make the Sinister Six. I just think it was a bit of a poor choice to have brought over.
True.
Keaton's
and then, of course,
Vulture.
Keaton's Vulture. So that's 5. 6. If they actually did it in this universe, they're not, because it's going to be a tiny kid. Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. So there's your 6. And you can have the villain, saying Venom's head in it, as Null.
Yeah.
Coming to get back his symbiote.
King in Black.
Yeah.
Venom, King in Black. That'd be awesome. Or Sinister Six, King in Black.
See, I'm not just a pretty face.
That you are. But yeah. So back to X-Men '97, which is the main purpose of this episode. But we always get sidetracked.
I'm glad you did not ask me what I want to play Gambit because I have no idea.
Oh, I wouldn't ask you that. I know that I kind of want to see Channing's version
I want to see his version for a slight bit
in Secret Wars.
in Secret Wars or in Deadpool vs. Wolverine,
Yeah.
which is heavily hinted. I'd like to see it quickly because I know he's a fan. And being a fan of myself and loving to play him myself, I'd like to have him have that moment of getting to play him.
But then Pan.
But do I see him as Gambit? Nowhere near.
I mean, it'd be a better Gambit than the X-Men Origins Wolverine one.
See, he wasn't bad if he was given a better script.
He wasn't, but why the hell did he have telekinetic cards?
You can do that in the comics.
It's just weird.
I know, but it's not telekinetic. It's the kinesthetic energy in his hands.
It just looked weird.
I know it did. That's just shitty CGI. And the fact he didn't really speak Asian at all.
I'm going off course again, but why was there a teleporting Will I Am?
Yeah, that was weird. But then again, he
didn't do a bad job.
He didn't do a great
It
job.
just felt weird having Will I Am in the movie.
And he had Kevin, I can never pronounce his second name, who appears in everything as the big blob guy.
Yeah.
Even though he wasn't a blob at the start of the movie.
Which his literal power is that he's fat.
Yeah.
Like Fat Gum in Chuffing My Hero. Like, they have the same power, technically. It's just Fat Gum can expend the energy he absorbs.
But yeah, when it comes to Gambit, who can play Gambit? The one I keep seeing, I don't see. And that's Austin Butler from Elvis.
Mm.
He
played a really good Elvis, but I don't see him as
blame
Gambit.
that. I just don't see it. Do I believe he could probably get the Asian accent down? I was saying he got Elvis down. Probably.
So.
And I liked him in Doom 2. I just don't see him as Gambit.
But then again, there's been characters I've not seen as the character they're portraying, and then they've done a fantastic job.
True, I didn't think Mark Buffalo would be a good Bruce. I could see him doing Hulk fine. Couldn't see him as Bruce, but I'll admit, when I think of Bruce Banner now, I do think of Mark Hamill.
For me, it was James McAvoy when it was announced he was taking over as Professor X.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
I was like, no, I don't see that. And then he played Professor X, and I was like, okay, this is
Since
really
then,
good.
have you noticed in Doctor Strange 2, Patrick did then put his hand to his head? Because if you notice in the original X-Men movies, he never did that.
I do that when I'm pretending, like in our D&D session when I did that mind reading thing.
Yeah.
I put my fingers, like you could ask Katie, I literally put my fingers to my head like this, and it was like, and then afterwards I was like, no one can see me, what the fuck am I doing?
It was something McAvoy started. He said he just felt weird just standing there pretending to go in his head. So he started putting his fingers to his head.
Just to be like,
Yeah, to feel like he's doing something. And then he asked point blank Patrick Stewart in that scene when he's sitting in front of him if he could finger him, which I find hilarious. And since then, Patrick Stewart has said he's found himself doing it.
it just makes it easier for the audience to know, oh, Professor X is using his powers as well. That's what I found. Like, in the cartoon, obviously, they have that little blue ripple. Which, to be honest, when I was a kid, I was never a fan of the little blue circles coming out of Jean's head because of the headband she wore. It kind of looked like she had like a gem on her head.
Yeah.
But the way they did it in X-Men 97,
It was kind of cool.
it looked better.
Yeah.
I also liked the subtle difference between Cable and Jean and Charles. Charles and Jean's are both blue. Like if you watch the opening and Jean used her powers, Charles is darker, Jean's is like a light blue.
Yeah.
Cable's is yellow.
Yeah, that was really cool. I'm also looking forward to see all the cast as people. Like Professor X, Magneto.
The only person there's a few people I would bring back from the Fox universe to play their character.
Go on.
I think the guy that they got to play Bobby was a fantastic Bobby, so if they went with an older version of Iceman, I would bring him back.
Yeah, it was good. I want a proper Rogue.
I want a proper Rogue. I also think...
I also don't give a shit if Kiki Palmer does play her.
What's it called? What's he called? I'm just trying to think of his name. I can see him in my head. I just can't remember.
Describe?
It's gone. You know, like when you had a thought
Yeah.
and then... I'm just trying to think of actors. Like...
I'd like Jennifer Lawrence's version of Mystique.
Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
I liked his Beast. Nicholas Hoult didn't do a terrible job, but Kelsey's was good.
They turned Nicholas Holt's version into the Hulk.
No, they did.
With him hulking out every time he wanted to use his powers. Oh man, who wore it?
Colossus, I think we're probably going to get the guy from Deadpool.
Yeah. I think that's who I was thinking of.
Well,
actually.
guys.
I think that's who I was thinking of, actually. Colossus from Deadpool. Cable, that was it. Cable from Deadpool. That's who I was thinking of.
I'd like to see him stay the same, just to see what Deadpool says about Cable and Thanos.
Like, I know that they're the same actor, but...
Ryan Reynolds could have such a good job playing with that.
Like, he looks so much like Cable.
He does.
He fits it perfectly. I know it's the same actor, but are you going to tell me people are going to draw that comparison in universe to a big purple scrotum?
After a while, they're going to forget. Glenn Powell's been rumoured to be Cyclops, which I find interesting. He's in Expendables 3. What else is he doing? He's in Maverick, Top Gun.
Yeah. But yeah, Ray, I think we should get back to what we originally set out to talk about. X-Men 97.
Yeah.
We just went on an X-Men tangent. But I think the series overall was really good, like I said in the beginning.
I enjoyed it.
I think the 3-part finale, Tolerance's Extinction, was fan-fucking-tastic. Excuse my French. Well, don't. This is an explicit podcast, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was amazing. I really enjoyed the Cable scene between Cable and Jean reaching out to Scott.
That was lovely.
And being like, basically, I love you sort of thing. As Cable like is blasting her because she thinks Sinister took control. Yeah. I like that coming back as well, because my only problem with the Madeline Pryor thing from episode 2 was it was rushed.
It was very
and
rushed.
While I got the idea that the X-Men 97 cartoon was implying that Madeline Pryor was the name of the kid, that's not the case in the comics. Like the kid that died that triggered Jean's powers, that isn't her name in the comics.
No.
Sinister gives Madeline Pryor the name Madeline Pryor.
Yeah.
And that's what because he basically gives her amnesia. She don't remember that she's Jean.
Yeah.
And he gives her the name, and then Scott meets her and is like, "Oh, you look like my ex," and goes out with her and marries her and all that stuff. Because at this point, Jean's dead, and Scott knows that Madeline isn't Jean. But the
Is
what
that
they've done.
before or after he's married Emma Frost and has a kid with Emma Frost?
This is all before. Um, I think the having the kid and getting married is an Elseworld thing, because they've not, to my knowledge, had a kid in main continuity.
Possibly.
But because you brought up Emma Frost, my funniest thing between Jean and Emma is the scene where Scott's having a psychic affair with Emma, forgetting that his girlfriend is also a fucking telepath, and she just walks into the telepathic room. Like, what the fuck, Scott?
Yeah.
Like that, but they did that, except they changed it. They didn't do Emma Frost. They did that in X-Men '97 between Madeline and Scott, and
Yeah.
Jean being like, Scott, that's our thing.
Yeah, that was weird and funny and...
I mean, I did not stand with Jean in that episode because 2 minutes ago she was about to snog Logan, and then she...
To be fair though, she's always just about to snog Logan.
I know, but if you're about to go and cheat on your boyfriend, or husband technically, with an asshole, because let's face it, Wolverine is an asshole, you can not then turn around to your husband and get mad at him for cheating on you with your exact duplicate who just had his kid. Like, I think I mentioned that in a previous podcast episode. It winds me up, because it's like Jean's trying to take the moral high ground here, and it's like, no, because if you want to get down to it, technically Scott should have left with Madeline.
Yeah.
She is the one that had the baby.
And been with for many, many years.
Yeah. Like, we don't know when they were switched, but we know that they were at least switched 9 months ago.
Yeah.
Because that's how long it takes a baby to, gestate, so...
You never know with clones. It could be quicker.
Could, but...
Highly doubtful, but...
Highly doubtful. I think the X-Men would have noticed something was up a lot faster. If, it had. And Jean was not pregnant at the end of the original X-Men cartoon.
No, she wasn't, was she?
And it starts back up with her being pregnant. So, it's heavily implied that in between Charles leaving to go with his space girlfriend and X-Men '97 starting up, that Jean and Scott knocked boots and
Got
pregnant with Nathan Charles Summers, a.k.a. Cable. So, I'm just saying, like...
No, I get you.
We at least know that there's been a time... It's been at least 9 to 8 months, because she could have had a preemie.
True.
But I don't think Nathan was prem. Just because no one panicked.
No.
So,
Well, it was panic, but not because of that.
yeah. Also, just because we're on that, funniest thing, they already set up Apocalypse in a throwaway gag. When when Madeline's like, he's coming, and Wolverine runs in the room, pops his clothes, and goes, who, Apocalypse? He fucking set up Apocalypse as a joke, and then he fucking shows up.
Yeah, I had a feeling he was going to show up at the end anyway.
Well, I did, because, like
My
we've
boy.
talked about before, we knew Gambit becomes the Horseman of Death. In the comics, Wolverine also becomes a Horseman of Death. I think they're going to change it. And I think they're going to make him the Horseman of War.
Yeah.
Especially seeing as though the last thing we hear him say before Magneto, fucks him up is, I've fought in a lot of wars, buddy.
Yeah.
And,
It's just the other two we got to find now.
well, I think because she keeps going flip-flopping between good and bad, I think Rogue's going to be Pestilence.
I don't think they'll make Rogue one. I think they'll keep Rogue good. And she'll be, like in the comics, bold. Gambit out of it.
Maybe. End of the day, we've got time to find them in the next season. Seeing as though one team is spending time with Ansabano and the other is in the future where Ansabano won.
Yeah.
So, yeah, spoiler alert for anyone that didn't catch that at the end when Jean and Scott are in the future. They're with the cult Ascani, with Mother Ascani, and that's in from the Age of Apocalypse timeline, where Apocalypse won, so she's also Rachel Summers, their daughter, so...
Yeah.
Well, an aspect of Rachel, but I think they're going to change it so she is actually Rachel. Because I think that dynamic between Cable, Mother Ascani, Jean, and Scott.
Which one is Hope Summers?
Hope Summers technically isn't actually a Summers.
No.
She was the first mutant born after M Day when Scarlet Witch said her famous lines, "No more mutants." And Cable took her into the future to keep her safe and gave her the name Hope Summers.
But she's the reason X-Men versus Avengers happened.
Yeah, because the Phoenix Force comes and wants to bond with Hope to restart the mutant population, and the X-Men are like, no, and Scott's like, fuck off, Captain America.
Mm.
Which, Rogue basically did that to Captain America in X-Men 97, which...
Sorry.
Sorry, that was the most badass thing I've seen ever. Like, my hands are tied. Well, if your hands are tied, you're not gonna need this, and fucking yeets the shield. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And it just gave me a mental image of Captain America walking around the mountainside.
Trying to find his shield.
Trying to find his shield. I don't know why, but Robert Downey Jr.'s voice popped into my head, like, over Steve's intercom going, "You found it yet?" And he's like, "Just use your scanners, Tony." And he's like, "No, fucking look for it."
Do it yourself. This is your problem.
Yeah. You confronted her.
Told you not to do it.
Like, can you imagine the banter between Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. if that had been a live action scene? It'd have been hilarious. So that's what was going through my head when I saw that.
Same.
And then the Spider-Man cameo.
That was nice.
When Magneto did what Magneto did, which I'm going to get to in a sec, because I have a question for Rob.
Oh, God.
So, at the end of, I believe it's Tolerance is Extinction Part 1, we have that speech from the blonde chick whose name escapes me at the moment. It works for the UN.
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
Where she's like, where she says, there's one thing I felt on Genosha. It wasn't surprise. No one was surprised. Or admiration for those that fought despite the odds. It was the only thought a sane person could have when a 20-foot robot's coming at you. Magneto was right. That speech.
Oh, God.
Do you think he was?
Well, he wasn't wrong.
I can see where Magneto's train of thought comes from, and especially when you put his backstory into context.
Yeah, I get Magneto's thought. I get Charles' thought.
I think, based on the scenario that happened on Genosha, Magneto was right in that moment.
Oh, God, yes.
Like, they tried peace, and they were still attacked. But at the same time, I think Charles is right to an extent. I sit in the middle.
I do.
Because, to quote the Doctor, right, from Peter Capaldi's era, in the end, everyone is going to have to sit down and talk, and that's where Charles's philosophy comes in.
Yeah.
So they're both right because they're both acting how humans actually act. We attack first and then sit down and talk, which is wrong, in my opinion. People should just talk it out to begin with.
Sit down, have a cup of tea.
But that's why both of them are right, because that is just how the human race operates.
Yes, but for that scene specifically, that was a cool-ass moment for Magneto.
And can I just say, I know it's an animated character, and I might get some flack for this, but in that scene where Magneto is stood there, EMPing the world, and he's dungarees and stuff like that, I feel bad.
Kind of hot.
But Magneto looked hot. Which makes me feel bad because I had a thing.
Every time you mentioned Apocalypse, I just keep going back to the young Apocalypse at the end. My brain goes, for a cartoon character, young Apocalypse is fucking odd.
He is. The only thing that puts me off is the weird blue lips. But, like, to be fair, there were a lot of X-Men characters that are hot. Gambit's hot. Like, seeing Gambit in that little t-shirt thing. That is 90s fashion, people. Stop losing your shit. Is yeah. I know, I'm just saying that a lot of people lost their shit just because of how a guy chose to dress. But it was literally 90s fashion.
Yeah, and Gambit's always been a little camp.
Yeah. So, but Gambit was smoking in that. To be honest, even Scott was like, whoa, at some point. Especially when he, like, freaking skydived and then blasted his chuffing lasers to slow him down. I was like, damn. I can see what Gene sees in this dude.
My brain thought, shit, I hope nobody's underneath that.
I don't think anyone was underneath it. I just like, whoa, damn, that hot. But yeah, and then I'm gonna be honest, Mystique as well. I know we didn't see her in this season, but like Mystique is hot. Like Rogue and Kurt Wagner have got a fine mama / daddy.
I love that. She's not quality.
It's great. It is great. But yeah, so yeah, that's
X-Men 97.
Our thoughts on X-Men 97.
Hot cartoon characters.
And Magneto freaking EMPing the planet was so badass. Oh yeah, and then I did mention that we would talk about this, so I'm going to say it before we sign off. The Fatal Attraction connection. With the freaking Wolverine shanking Magneto.
Oh, that was cool.
And then, word for word, comic-wise, chuffing Magneto, ripping the adamantium out of Wolverine's body to the sound of Charles going, "Oh, Magnus, for the love of God, no!"
Yep.
That was fucking awesome.
I think every geek cummed at that point.
Yeah, I think they did. And also, the fact that it doesn't just set up Unseven for next season, it sets up fucking Onslaught.
Oh, God, I didn't think about Onslaught.
That happens after Fatal Attraction, when Charles jumps into Magneto's head. When they rebuild Magneto's brain, a piece of Charles's dark side and Magneto's dark side merge together and start doing their own shit until eventually they create the fucking full-on Onslaught persona.
Oops.
And it takes the entire Marvel Universe to fucking defeat it, which is why I think they kept showing those cameos.
Mm.
And in the comics, when they defeat Onslaught, they're sent to a parallel universe by a pocket universe by Franklin Richards, and everyone in their universe thinks they're dead, like the main Avengers. I think they're gonna change that, and I think that when the Onslaught's defeated, they're gonna be thrown into Secret Wars.
That'd be intriguing.
And we get like an animated version of like the Secret Wars thing, and then they cast like live action versions of them.
Yeah.
To play the X-Men 97 characters in live action for Secret Wars. And then that's how, like, not how we get mutants in the MCU, because I don't want it to be the same team. But you know, at the end of Secret Wars, when the universe is put back together and things are different, so there's Miles Morales in the main universe now and stuff like that. Yeah. I think when the universe gets put back together, because the X-Men were a part of Secret Wars, mutation gets put back into the universe, and boom, we've got mutants.
Cool. Anyway. Like,
subscribe,
help.
Follow our other social medias, help, and can I just say, because I've always wanted to me, my X-Men.
That was corny. Help.